Hi, and welcome to Woo Woo Realtor. I'm Irene Hammond, the Woo Woo Realtor, and today I'm here with Jesse Neidt. Jesse is an intuitive healer and a founder of Intuitive and Aligned. She's been in private practice since 2006, working with individuals, families, and small groups throughout the country. She uses her gift of insight to pick up the energies that are just off most people's radar. Jesse shares her process of insight, discernment, releasing, and anchoring with each participant, and encourages them to utilize their own inner guidance system as a practice. Jesse, thank you so much for coming and playing with me. You're the first conversation that I'm having with Woo Woo Realtor, and you've been a friend of mine for ages, and I'm just so grateful to have you join me today.
Thank you, Irene. And first of all, I was thinking this morning, how long have we been friends? And we've got to be somewhere between 13 and 15 years now. So, right?
Yeah, it's because I met you just before I met my husband, and we've been married for 15, so
Okay.
16, 17 years.
Thank you, ladies who launch.
Yes.
And also, I'm very excited not to just be a guest on your podcast, but the inaugural podcast is very exciting. So
Yay.
let's go.
So, you and I have had a lot of conversations about energy, and one of the things that you work with is identifying energy, and energy that people may not be aware of. So tell me how all that works.
Well, I could talk on that for a couple hours, but I will try to keep it brief. And then if you have deeper questions or if I'm not making sense, let me know. But everything is energy and everything has energy. So I look at it in a couple different ways. When I look at a person, often I'm able to, through conversation, pick up on the energies that are just off their radar. And those can be thoughts, beliefs, energy patterns, and stuck energy, things that are creating a block between someone getting the results that they want, whether it's in a relationship or a house or a job or anything in life. And so I don't just see energy, I see stuck energy, and I see energy dynamics. And that is like when we look at two people talking to each other, we can see the dynamics between those two people. And what most people don't understand is we have energetic dynamics as well. And that can be, again, the things that are off most people's radar, the things that we aren't often trained to pay attention to. So let's say you and I, for example, Irene, we have a friendship. We have not just, similar likes or dislikes, but we also, I think one of the reasons why our friendship has worked is energetically, there are some energetic dynamics that work between us as well. And so we're looking at that. I see these dynamics between people, family members, employees, but I also see those dynamics between the person and the thing, whether it's a home or, a job or a situation. And it's easy to see when things are out of alignment and if and how to put them in alignment. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
That was a long answer.
It's perfect. Perfect. Well, because Woo Woo Realtor has a lean towards real estate and homes, let's talk about having energy in the home, because I know you're also a licensed real estate agent, and have helped real estate agents at various points in time move energy to help get a home sold. So how does a house energy, what are things that can affect that? And what are the things that you pick up on? And what are things that somebody else could pick up on? Like that, the layman, we'll call them, picks up on.
Yeah. Well, since everything is energy, everything can also hold energy. And so when I look through a house, there can just be stuck energy, just like many places can you know, like it gets stuck, whether it was,
Almost like it's stale. Like it's been a house that's been empty too long becomes kind of stale. Not just the air, but like the energy in the house, you can feel it.
you can feel it. And this can show up, this feeling, the things that you can feel in a couple different ways. Well, several different ways. One can be, and this is a big one, especially for a realtor, is if there is a move, like a family is moving out of a home, and say, for example, the house has been on the market, and on paper it's the perfect house, and it's priced perfectly, and the market is perfect, but the house won't sell. That's where someone like me, I would look into the dynamics of that, and you know, first start talking to the sellers. And the first place I would go intuitively is there's still a lot of attachment in the house. Someone or all of them, the participants, the family members, whatnot, haven't completely released or aren't ready to release the home. That happens a lot maybe with empty nesters. You know, they've built a family in this house. They've raised their kids in this house, and they feel ready to move on and to downsize and, you know, to travel and do all of these things. But there are these maybe energetic cords. I don't talk much about the cords and the attachments, but that's, you asked for layman's terms, and that's the best way to put it. Yeah. Is there still some very strong attachment going on there that they may not even be aware of, you know, because they're looking forward and their excitement is going forward, but they're still, when someone else steps into the house, either super sensitive or not, they pick up on that. And somehow, I mean, there's a lot of decisions or beliefs that they can generate from that, but it doesn't feel theirs. This person or this couple will walk into this house and it doesn't feel like a fit for them because energetically it still belongs to someone else. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. In fact, I've had clients, since I specialize in the 55 plus, I've had a lot of clients move from out of state into Arizona, and they were, I suggest to them to walk through their home and have that like room to room memories, like go through and like the memories of the kids and the families and the experiences and the dinners and the dining room and the Christmases and all of those experiences that they've had, walk through, remember them in the home and say thank you. And tell your house that it's going to have more great memories. And that's one of the things that I tell clients. And sometimes they go, huh? And then they usually, once I get a little bit further into the explanation, they're like, oh, and they get it. Like I don't have to tell them it's about the energy, but they understand it's about the energy, right. And boom, they're able to move it, get sold, get things packed, go through their stuff. Like the whole process goes from being stuck and sluggish to flowing. And so what are some other things that you would suggest to do, or how would you help people with the same type of situation?
Well, I want to add to what you said, because that was perfect and exactly what I would do as well. And
we didn't practice that.
I know you, so I know you. We did not practice that. Actually, I did not receive any additional funding for that statement. Anyway, I'm just being silly. I know you, so I know you would already naturally incorporate joy into what you just said. But in the work that I do, the more fun and joy and play is the best word, that you can incorporate into exercises like this, the more, the better result you're going to get. And that is with all of the work that I do. The more, and I mean, granted, some topics are just, it's not appropriate to incorporate play in, but when possible. So in doing what you just suggested someone do, make it playful, make it giggly. And the flip side of, we were talking about releasing, letting go, selling a house. On the flip side of wanting to find and connect and align with your new perfect place, I'll share an example of what I did. My family, a couple of years ago, we were looking at homes, and I don't remember details around the situation and how the market was, but for some reason it felt like there was a lot of competition for this particular property. And so like, it was kind of like crossing fingers. Are we going to get it? We weren't sure. And so I had all four of us, I gave each of the four of us a postcard, like the kids use in school or whatnot, the lined one. And I said, let's write our intentions down. And of course the kids were in grade school. So I broke down what intentions were. Let's write down our hopes and dreams for that house. And each of us separately did. And, for me, it was about, prom and having a prom party at the house and cooking this and entertaining and doing all of these things. And then we sealed them all up and put them in a special place that represented our new life. And of course we got the house and we were very, very excited about that. But, in situations like that, or for you, Irene, when you're talking to other realtors, like, yeah, I do energy for a living, but I know when I use those terms with other people, they're like, I don't speak that language, or it is too woo-woo, or what have you.
But the thing is everybody uses energy because, your gut feeling is energy. When you go have hesitancy towards something, that's the energy of that experience speaking to you, and listening to that is, it's part of our DNA. We're human. That's our fight or flight survival mechanism built into us. And what you've done is simply honed it, practiced it, really listened to it so that you're more in touch with it. And that's the distinction. So that talking about energy it's not woo woo, it's part of who we are. And you just listen better.
Yeah. I listen with a different, I listen not just with my ears, I see not just with my eyes, but I'm connected and see intuitively as well. So yes, correct.
Yeah.
And my light just went off. So hold on, I'm trying to technical difficulties. Yeah. So let me make sure that gets back on. Better?
Yeah. And
anyway,
and I know exactly what you mean by identifying your intention, because since I do work in the 55 plus, the conversations I have with my clients are, what is it you are choosing to have for your retirement? For what is the lifestyle? What is that? And so I already am putting people in that mindset of enjoying and living and experiencing bliss in their desired outcome of their 55 plus community. And so my clients find homes easily because we've already connected with all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's where it's important, for those of you who aren't used to this language, is why I mentioned when you talk about energy, like Irene said, someone may not speak that language, but we all do energy. So for somebody who says, I don't do energy, well, you may not intentionally, but we all do it because that's what we are. And clearly I'm very passionate about what I do. And I've made, energy basically my whole world, and the understanding of it and the teaching of it. But I will tell you, the more you understand the way energy works and the way energy moves and how to move it when it's stuck, the better results you're going to have in every single area of your life. I mean, we're talking job, home, relationships, pets, health, joy, all of it. And it isn't that difficult to understand.
Well, and you like you said, you have to learn how to listen with your whole being.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so is one of the things that you do is you help people learn how to do that for themselves, correct?
Absolutely. So when I'm working one-on-one with someone, sure, we're going to sit down and, clear the energy, and I'm going to look in with my intuitive insight and see what's just off their radar. But that's really only 50% of what I do. My real passion is the educating. And that's where the anchoring comes in, is I teach people how to do this for themselves. And I believe that's innate for all of us, innate, not innate. We all know how to do this. We maybe just have forgotten, or we haven't honed our skills. And so, yeah, look at your energy, and we're going to have a conversation about that. At the same time, there's going to be the educational side of it to help you figure out how to do it for yourself, and how to, like, what is your baseline? Who are you on a day-to-day basis? How do you feel? How do you show up in the world? How comfortable are you with your own energy, so that when you're off, you know it, and you have a system in place to put yourself back on course. That's what
Perfect.
intuitive and aligned is all about. Is
Perfect.
staying on course and knowing how to get back on course when you're feeling off. And we all, I mean, I don't care how good you are at this stuff. We all have off days, off weeks, sometimes even an off month. Who knows? You know, it's 2020.
Well, it's like a boat sailing from California to Hawaii. If it's a sailboat, it tacks. And actually in the journey, it gets from the port in California to the port in Hawaii, but it's only on course about 2% of the time, because the way the winds are, you constantly have to tack. So your actual percentage time of being on course is literally only like 2%. So that's life. That
I did not
constantly
know that about sailboats. Yeah, that is life.
And we're constantly tacking. We're constantly going to a point where, and I think that you can either sail really far before you tack, or you can sail for a short jog before you tack. And part of what you do is you help people shorten that tack so that they recognize they're off course sooner and make adjustment.
Yeah, that is very, very true. And I don't know if this really, sidelines with that, but often, and this goes to the work that I do beyond just energy. It's okay. So when we shift energy or heal something, or gain a little piece of insight or awareness about ourselves, and feel like, oh, we've got that handled. Maybe, for example, someone with boundary issues, like, I'm just not good at setting boundaries, and I don't know how to do that. And so we look at the thoughts and the beliefs that are blocking that, and maybe there's some value, there's some fear in there, whatever. We do the work around understanding that and shifting that. And this is, where your sailboat reference comes in, is then the myth is for a lot of people that will never show up again. Well, I handled that. I learned how to set good boundaries. Now no one will ever violate my boundaries again. And it sounds funny, but it's so true. And, we believe that, or a lot of people do. And that's not where the work is. Okay. So the work is knowing that this is going to show up again. I know you handled it. You cleared it. You shifted it. You did a really great job. And it's going to show up again, because when you heal, when you change, that doesn't necessarily mean the world around you changes. So the world may still show up the same way. And the anchoring in is where you respond differently. So when someone shows up in front of you, using, again, the boundary situation, and someone violates your boundaries, the old way might be, why me, or poor me, or I feel like a victim, or I feel betrayed or abused, or whatever words you want to put in there. The new energy is, I've got this, and we dive into our value or our self-worth, or we've learned to communicate, like, that's not okay. It's not okay to speak to me that way, or that doesn't work in my life anymore. That's one of my favorite sayings. And so we respond in a new way to an old energy. And that's where that tacking comes in. So yeah, we may get off course. An old energy or person or situation may present itself again. That doesn't mean you didn't do it right or you didn't handle it. That's just life. And so that's where you get to respond differently. Responding to an old energy with a new energy. And that is really the work and where the magic comes in. Because when you do that, oh my gosh, the pride you feel in just knowing like, I did that, I handled that, and it really is life-changing. Clearly, I'm very excited about that part.
Well, what you just said is really, I think, key. And especially since we are a week, 2 weeks from Thanksgiving, and families and people come together that have known us, and we'll say in our old patterns and in our old ways. And people are like, I think family reunions and Christmas is really one of those things that the holidays allow us to reconnect with people that we haven't seen maybe since we've done the healing work that we've done, and that made the new choices that we've made. And
Yeah.
they're there to test us. Sometimes they test us more than we really want, but it's also our opportunity to be empowered with our own growth and strength and awareness. And like you said, that tacking of doing the work of being steadfast and
Absolutely. And you're right.
sure in the direction we go.
And steadfast is the perfect word. And yeah, well done. Very insightful, because the holidays really are the perfect example of being presented with the opportunity to show up differently. And I will also say this, showing up differently doesn't necessarily mean bold or in your face. It can be very gentle and very quiet, and even feel more neutral. When you step in, my busiest time is around the holidays for this reason. And you may feel the pull. You see me being pulled out of my screen. You may feel the pull to go back to the old energy, the old you, the old feelings, and the old family patterns, or whatever it is. And it's a great opportunity to build your muscle.
Yeah. Good put. Yeah. Well put.
Just build your muscle. And it, like I said, it doesn't have to be bold or loud. It can be very graceful and very quiet. And when I talk about the anchoring in, is showing up differently in thought, word, feeling, and action. So if the best you've got is just showing up differently in feeling, that's enough.
That's a big one.
That's more than enough. And so being presented with the old energy or the old dynamics, you just feel differently, because it's your inner dialogue that is the most powerful part of this role.
Very true.
That story you're telling yourself, the way you feel, the words that are going through your head, that right there is more than enough. Fabulous.
Well put. Thank you. That's a great holiday boost. So tell me this, what is a project that you're working on right now?
Well, as always, I'm doing my one-on-one sessions. But my newest project is intuitive and aligned. And I'm so excited about this program, and so proud of it. And what it is a very thorough energy healing and energy clearing program. My one-off sessions are more like 1 hour one-on-one with an individual or a family or a small group, and we maybe work on something in particular. Most people who show up have something very specific they want to focus on, or they're people that I've worked with in the past that just want to check in and kind of vibe up a little bit. Intuitive and aligned is very, very in-depth, and it is a complete energy healing and energy clearing program. And then it's also very educational. We go through the process of, now my mind went blank, insight, discernment, the healing, and then the anchoring in. So there's a lot of education in the things that I was just talking about. Mm-hmm. How to, like Jesse, how do I pick up on the things that are just off my radar? I mean, it's great to come to you for it, but how do I do it? So we go through that. We go through discerning. A big part of intuition is learning to discern what's true for you versus what's true in the world. And, is this an energy that works for me? How do I feel? Discernment is learning to feel your way through something. When you're going into a house to see if you want to buy it, you're using discernment. How does this house feel? Am I able to stand in this house and see my future and my life experientially in this house? So we're learning this in intuitive and aligned. We go very in depth and clear out negative thought patterns. And those are the thoughts that you're thinking that you may not be aware of. The old stories, like I'm always this, or I never win, or, you know, this happened to my parents, so it's bound to happen to me. All of those belief patterns, outdated belief patterns, things that we learned while we were growing up, not that it's anyone else's fault, but just as we enter adulthood, no one tells us it's time to take those beliefs out of the backpack and make sure, have a good look and make sure, do they work for the life that you want to lead? Do we need to reevaluate our values? And so through this program, we look at all of that. We release any, you know, negative thought and belief patterns. We start to redesign the way you think and the story you tell yourself about yourself, how to anchor in all of that work so that you can show up and really be the creator of your experience and feel less at the effect of the world around you or of the people around you, and more in the driver's seat of your life. And we go very in depth on relationships, the beliefs, the patterns, the old stuff around relationships. That works if you're in a great relationship or looking for a great relationship. This program is great for people who are in or about to go into major life transition, moving, divorce, things like that. We look at releasing trauma. And if you've watched any of my videos, we're trained to think that trauma is just the really obvious stuff. And I don't need to go through in this video what obvious traumas are, but we also can hold the energy of trauma in our body on the more subtle things that have happened to us. Something we overheard as a child that we couldn't make sense of. So we created a belief about us or about it that is no longer true. Or somebody said something that was hurtful or painful or whatever, and we barely even remember it, but we carry that energy with us. And so this program dives into all of that stuff to really clear out all the BS in your life so that you can start from where you are and move forward without all the old baggage.
Fabulous. And I love the thing about like the backpack, because there are things that we have carried with us through our lives that got us to where we are today. So thank you. I'm grateful. And do I really want this? And to know that you have a choice. And I think that's a thing that people aren't aware of, that they don't know that they actually have a choice of going, this doesn't serve me. I don't need this anymore. I'm going to leave it here.
That's it, Irene, is that people don't know that they have a choice to let go of that stuff, or that they can look at their beliefs or dig into that stuff and let them go, or what's the word I'm looking for? Restructure their belief system. And the backpack, I like to see that because it's on our back and it's what we're carrying.
It's like it's our burden.
What's in the backpack. And we can't see it. So we take it off, we unzip it, and we look. And that's where we get the chance to be like, oh, like when I'm working one-on-one with someone, fear is a big one. And you would be amazed at when we break down our fears and what we're really afraid of, the energy of the fear tends to be so much bigger than what could actually happen in the worst case scenario. And so our fears are these fight or flight, I'm going to die or be abandoned or whatever if this happens. And that's the energy in our body, and that we're not aware of it. So this thing that, on paper is somewhat irrelevant, we're terrified of because we haven't been told that we can kind of reassign the level of fear that we will
Yeah.
allow. It doesn't mean we need to totally get rid of the fear, but the level of fear that we feel towards these things.
Not necessarily in balance.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But again, there's no class, in high school or in college that teaches us how to do this. And, while because you and I have these conversations all the time, you and I can talk about it and it seems so elementary, but 85-90% of the population hasn't been introduced to how to do that for
And
themselves.
that's part of what I want Woo Woo Realtor to be about. I want to be able to open people's eyes up to choice. I want to open people's eyes up to consciousness, being aware, just merely being aware that you have choice in any situation can dramatically transform it. And there's so many different aspects of living our best life that I want to be able to support people in doing that. And so that's where this kind of is coming together, because it has been elemental and so much of the base structure of my life for so long that I want other people to have that.
And, for the people that watch this, we could talk for hours on just how to apply it to the real estate business. We could. There's so much conversation around energy and real estate, and even, the journey home, inward,
Yep.
in alignment with the journey to finding a home or connecting with a home. It's so relevant. But the agents listening to this can also use it personally as well, understanding these topics, techniques, whatever. Like I said, you can apply it. Energy is everything. And so what we're talking about can literally be applied to anything.
Exactly.
Anything.
And the thing is that most of the principles that you and I have talked about in the past, and that I plan on discussing here, whether you can apply it to business, you can apply it to real estate, you can apply it to your life, you can apply it to your relationships, that these principles are principles. They're baseline laws that you can put into practical application in any area. And because everything is energy. And so, getting ideas of, well, how can I use this? I'm sure there are people that'll watch this will go, wow, I never thought about using these principles, and asking people, well, what is a lifestyle that you're looking for? And letting them move in advance to even going and looking for a house has them already, like, boom, the house just shows up. And so people haven't thought, I know that there's a lot of people that haven't thought of that as a way. They might even be knowledgeable about energy and all of those elements, but they haven't applied it maybe in a new way. And so hopefully we'll hear from somebody that says, oh, that was fabulous.
Well, and two things I want to say. I don't know what format that you're putting this out there, but it would be great if there was a way where people, if they were able to put questions, we could respond to them. I know that I did a video for people in the service industry recently, and it was how to avoid taking on other people's energy, especially when there's a lot of fear going on right now. A lot of people who are physically touching other people for a living were feeling burdened and heavy. And so I put that out there, and I had so many questions from that. So I'm hoping that there will be a way that when people watch this, if they have other questions, we're able to respond to them somehow.
Well, and so let's just put it as put questions in the comment area below, and then you and I can get together another time, and we can have a session that's about those questions and that kind of Q&A. And then with other people that I talk with, I can keep a running tally of questions that can be answered by different people that I have conversations with. Because you're coming back, right?
Oh, for sure. And okay, so that just made me think of a couple other things. I don't know how we're doing on time, so I'm going to talk fast.
You're good. You're good.
Okay, number one is yes, I love the idea of coming back and having a conversation around specific questions. Two, back to when you were asking me about techniques. Okay, keeping it simple. Like the work that I do, I can go in and do some very deep and complex things to move energy. But when you're working with someone else, or you don't have the time to figure all of this out, let's just talk about one really simple, easy thing to do with a home. Okay, sweeping moves energy. And okay, so there's a part A and a part B to this. One, so go into a house, whether you're trying to sell it or buy it or whatever, move the energy. Okay, sweeping, even historically, has had huge ceremonial and energetic benefits. So that is a great way to get things moving. I mean, like there's a reason why we use the saying clearing out the cobwebs. And that is a great example for me to explain that intention is everything. And I cannot say this passionately enough. So when you do something and you just randomly do it, it has one effect. But when you do it with intention, knowing what you're doing, and the intention is to move the energy or to whatever, it adds so much more oomph to the results that you get. So now you're not just picking up a broom, you're moving energy as you sweep. And that is going to get you even better results. And again, like I said, energy is everything. And so when you do something intentionally with a desired result, and if you can add a little passion or play to that, it is going to level up the results you get. I promise. Exponentially. I mean,
so that's the basic law of manifestation, is ask with faith, and faith is the action. It's already happened. And so the moving of energy with having intention, the intention is knowing that's your ask, right? Having your intention. This is what my purpose is as I'm moving this energy and sweeping the house, to move the energy and saying goodbye to the house. Or if you're the agent, sweeping in new, bringing in new instead of sweeping out the old. It's like a goodbye to the old people and hello to the new people. That having that intention and then the action, those two parts bring in with emotion, with feeling. When you have the passion and you bring that alive in you, that manifests. Period.
And that is where, since you have coined yourself the Woo Woo Realtor, this is where the woo woo, like when people learned to do vision boards and they thought, I'm just going to throw it up on the wall and where's my stuff? Like, I'm not going to look at it. I'm going to sit over here on the couch and eat potato chips and, wait for, something to arrive on my doorstep. It doesn't work that way. It is, for me, it is about engaging in the energy. It doesn't matter how long I look at something. Sure, looking at it may help because it is a reminder, but it is the feeling. It is the creating. It is why I had each of the four of us write down, like, our intentions, our experiences in the house, and let's get excited. And then let's have a bonfire and make s'mores and melt marshmallows and talk about it and be excited about it and talk about the experiences we're going to have there and what we're going to create, while also being open to it being amazing and more better than what we could imagine for ourselves. But that is what moves energy. That is, what gets you aligned. So getting aligned with something is clearing out anything that's in your way of that. Say your thing is, I want to have an amazing relationship. Okay. Well, if your beliefs, whether you're aware of them or not, are, I'm invaluable, I'm not enough, I don't deserve, then you're wondering, where's my amazing guy or where's my amazing girl? And well, there's a block right there. You're having beliefs and thoughts that are blocking you from that experience. So we clear those out with intention and anchoring and all of that good stuff. And then we start creating new language. That inner dialogue is upgraded. And that is how you align with that experience. And so again, you can apply that to a job, to a house, to a relationship. And it isn't, it is like, I can, you know, because sometimes it's with the ask and it's given, people feel the separation from feeling like they can create it, like they are in the driver's seat. But in the work that I do, they are. I choose, I can, I create, I intend. And that is what propels you or aligns you with.
Beautifully
As
said.
I'm leaning into it, I'm like, rah!
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. So before we wrap this up for today, I asked you about your favorite personal development book, and you said The Journey Home by Chiron. So tell me something about that book that sticks with you today that makes it your favorite personal development book.
And I knew you were going to ask me this question. And there's so many things I love. Okay, let me start with all of the hidden messages. Here's what I love the most about this book, which actually will not tell you anything about the book, because you got to have it as a surprise. But I've read that book probably 4 times now. And each time I read it, I get something new. And I mean, like, more depth and more meaning and more understanding. And I'm able to apply that, you know, obviously for me, intention and energy and personal development is a practice for me. Like, this is how I live my life. I don't think about it on Saturdays or every other month. And so these are thoughts that I'm always thinking, and I'm always feeling like I am on my journey home, which is my journey inward to, feeling better and doing better and absolutely showing up better. And that is what this book is all about. It's about this man's journey through his process and the choices that I totally have goosebumps, sorry. The choices that he's given, and even his journey in not making the right choices, and what he learns from that when he gets off course, when he's guided to do one thing, you know, intuitively, and he doesn't do it. And is he punished? No. Is he tested? No. But he learns either way he decides. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful story about someone's journey home.
Fabulous.
And again, it's very vibrational and in depth, which means I learn on a new level each time I read it. And it's a magical book.
I've read so many personal development books. I don't know if I've read that one. So I'm going to go grab it on my Kindle and start reading it. So thank you.
You will absolutely love it. And I just have to throw in, obviously, The Alchemist is another really good one, as well as The 4 Agreements, because don't take anything personally is, you know, like, I just did a video about that. And one of the things is, you know, that really can allow us to take on energy that we don't want or that belongs to someone else, is when something is said or done and we run it through our own personal filter, we make it about us, we join that as part of our story, and we feel heavy and we feel not so good. And The 4 Agreements really is very simply put, and, you know, don't take anything personally is one of the 4 agreements. So I had to throw in those 2 other books as well, because, you know, they're amazing.
Because they are. Okay. So thank you, Jesse, for being my inaugural conversation. And thank you for agreeing to come back and answer questions. And we definitely are going to play in this arena again. Thank you for watching and for joining us. I am Irene Hammond, the Woo Woo Realtor, and I look forward to seeing you in our next conversation. Have a fabulous day.
Thanks for watching.